Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time you're watching this. This is Morgan Rees, and I had an amazing weekend this weekend. So I am still on, I said cloud a million. Um, we're gonna jump right into it, guys. When I tell you the Father is healing, the Lord is healing, the Lord is healing. My message today is they cut my heart, but Jesus is healing. I'm going to say that for you guys one more time. They cut my heart, but Jesus is healing. The Balm of Gilead, Jeremiah 8:22. And I'm going to read it for you just so you can get a clarity. You can understand. You're like, Morgan, wait, who cut your heart? What's going on? Well, Jeremiah 8:22. Surely there is some medicine in Gilead. Surely there's a doctor in Gilead. So why are the wounds of my people not healed? We are living in a world with a lot of people that are unhealed. And when I tell you Morgan Rees should have been that one person that was not healing or did not want the healing, when I tell you, oh God, I promise you, when I tell you that was my journey, that should have been my journey, but God had a different plan for me. God had a different journey for me. The Lord said, no, that's not the way I want you to go. And I remember growing up with all my family, mainly my mother's side of the family. Everything they said to me, they cut my heart. Everything they did to me, they cut my heart. Any way they treated me, whether their actions, anything they done, they cut my heart. They cut this little heart that the Lord gave me, that God gave me when he created me. And I remember one time my mom had said something. She had was being her, and she said something one time. And I was like, Mom, you know that hurt me. And she said, but I know your heart, so I know you'll forgive me. And I was like, but it doesn't make it right. You still said it. You don't know how much that hurt me. And guys, that has been me. So last video I made, I thought I was 51. In my mind, I say I'm 30-something. I'm in my 30s, but I can't say that because my oldest is 35. I'm actually 52, Lord allow, on September the 7th. I'll be 53. And when I tell you when she said, you know, you got that heart, so I know you're going to forgive me. For 52 years of my life, because I'm currently 52, everything that someone did, anything that someone said, everything that someone, however they treated me, whether they stole from me, whether they told a lie on me, whether they misconstrued my information, whether they misunderstood me. And I know many of you out there thinking, Morgan, it's the same thing with me. This has been my journey for 52 years, mainly with my mom's side of the family. I did not really know a lot about my dad's side of the family because I didn't meet them visibly and physically until I was 21 years old. And even after I finally got a chance to know that side of the family, I received some of the same things. It just wasn't as bad as it was growing up with my mom. And when I tell you there was a balm in Gilead for my life, over my life, there have been a balm in Gilead. So last night I was in service with my bishop. Shout out to Prophet Rees, RCC. Charlotte is on his way. Houston is here. Atlanta's here. Chicago's here. When I tell you the room, the church, the building was filled with a lot of people coming to the emergency department. Do y'all not know the house of worship, us as the body of Christ, is the emergency department, the emergency room? I work for the hospital, so we say ED for short. Is the emergency room. There was so many people. I remember standing in line talking to this young man. And he said, there's a lot of hungry people here. And I said, you're right. He says, a lot of people that have been feeding their flesh instead of feeding their spirit. I said, you're right. There are a lot of people's hearts that were cut. But Jesus is healing. And when they came in last night, I seen the healing. I was experiencing the healing myself. Many don't know. I could not hear from my right ear since I was about 10 years old. I had a nerve deafness because growing up through child abuse, I used to get beat a lot and I used to get hit in my head a lot by my mom's first ex-husband. And he used to rub his knuckles in my head if I would do or say something that maybe wasn't pleasing to him. And then me myself, what I would tell y'all is, when the devil messes with you, when Satan tells you to your mind that you're no good, you're ugly, you're repeating the same things that your family and your friends was telling you. And for my journey, my family, all they said to me was I was ugly. Said that I didn't look good. I wasn't going to never amount to anything because I had eczema really, really bad. And when I was younger, they used to cut my hair at the doctor's office because it was so bad in my head. But then when my mother's sisters would braid my hair, they would braid it and then they would cut my hair. And so as my sister said, what was your pharaoh? My pharaoh was my hair. And our women, for you don't know, your hair is your crown of glory. And when you allow Satan or the people that Satan has control of to attack you, that takes away what God has for you. But it doesn't really take away, but your hair is your crown of glory. Did you see Jesus walking around with no hair? Did you see the disciples walking around with no hair? How many people did you really see that had no hair? Even if they had a skin condition like I did, you would have thought, here I am, 52 years old, I should not have no hair, but the devil is a liar. Full hair, and it's all mine. It's natural. It's all mine because he gave it to me from the beginning when he placed me in my mother's womb. And so at church last night, and I'm like, look at all these people waiting to get healed, needing the deliverance. And there's so many people that are in the world that got demonic strongholds over them because someone cut their heart. But the ones that showed up and the ones that are coming back and the ones that are not just going to this true spirituality of learning, of teaching, of being taught, of who you are, who Christ is in your life, who he is in your heart, who God is as our creator of heaven and earth, as you go to those places, because it's not just this ministry, there's going to be other ministries that God is going to raise up, because the ones that is right here, right now, they're false, they ain't real. And so everybody's walking in the blind, everybody's running each other, running all these different places, and they're not being taught the way they need to be taught. They were there because their hearts got cut. But Jesus is healing it. There's a balm in Gilead, Jeremiah 8:22. And your girl Morgan was receiving that balm in Gilead all my life. Every time somebody would do something to me. And I was even learning that I'm like the weeping prophet. I'm a crybaby. I promise you guys. It don't take much. If you said one wrong thing to me, if you did one wrong thing to me, I'm crying. I'm boo-hooing like a baby. Why are they doing this to me? Why is this happening? Not realizing that God was preparing me through all those journeys of hurt, through all those journeys of pain, of disappointment, of rejection, of abandonment. He was preparing me for such a time as this now, for me to let you know that he's going to heal your heart. But the main thing of healing your heart is you must forgive. Think about this. My mother did not treat me well growing up because she had her own trauma and pain. She had her own hurt. She had her own form of abandonment and rejection and abuse. But I had to forgive. My dad, he had his own trauma. He had his rejection. He had his abandonment. He had his own hurt and his abuse. But I had to forgive him. My sisters, my sister, my brothers, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins have said so many things, have done so many things. I remember even this friendship that I had the longest friendship that I ever had in my life. And the day they cut my heart was when they walked out my door and didn't even say goodbye, and walked out because of a disagreement, walked out because of a misunderstanding. And that was the longest friendship I ever had in my life. And for me, she was my best friend. So I thought. Until God said, no, that season has to come to an end. And I'm like, no, because I noticed every time something would happen, it would be me always come back to forgive that person. I will always come back and say, I'm sorry. Even if I know I didn't do anything wrong, I'm going back and saying, can you forgive me? And they would sometimes look at me like a fool. Why would I forgive you? I'm the one that hurt you. She is a fool. No, I'm not. Because that's how he's healing my heart. And when you ask the Lord, when you ask the Father, increase the heart of your son in me. Jesus is love. God is love. And if we cannot love by forgiving, that don't mean we got to receive them back. because when their season comes to a close, you got to let them go. And so Morgan had to learn, I had to let them go. Even though it hurt at first because I kept saying, but they still kept hurting me. They still keep saying things. They still keep doing things. Even when I was getting robbed, literally, when my money was being stolen from me. When my oldest child's father rejected my daughter when she first was born, and when I first had her, and I'm at 16 years old, not knowing what to do with a child. I end up happening because, again, except what God allows. God allowed me to have that child because of the trauma I was going through at the home that I was living in at the time. And I'm thinking he my safe haven. And then as soon as I had this baby, and his brother said, man, bro, your baby looked just like you. And he looked into my daughter's face and in her eyes, and he said, she don't look like me. She ugly. And all I could do was just smile. And I said, and his brother said, don't worry about it, sis. He gonna come around. He came around again 2 years later after I done still going on my journey of going from a shelter, from going to the projects, from going from house to house, from being a part of this, from running from this, from running from that. 2 years later, he comes back into her life. And then when he comes back into her life 2 years later, I'm thinking he's going to be there. And he was there for a few years until I met my ex-husband, my youngest daughter's dad, and then not realizing that my ex-husband was using me to attack my oldest daughter's child's dad because of whatever that spirit of jealousy and the spirit of envy and that spirit of pride and that spirit of boastfulness and that spirit of manipulation and narcissism is real, people. When I'm trying to told you, I have been surrounded by, connected to, sleeping with, laying with, hugging on, all those type of people that carried all those spirits. And so when he used me to go and get child support for the oldest because he didn't want to be on child support. And so I go and tell the oldest, and then the oldest dad says, okay, well, I got something for her. I'm going to manipulate the system to let it show that this one is not mine, even though I knew that it was theirs. And then again, 4 or 5 years old, you abandoned, you rejected, you hurt not just me, but you hurt the child. Then my middle, he hurts me again. They cut in my heart because when you hurt my children, you hurt me. You cut in my heart. But Jesus is healing it. Because I promise you guys, as I'm on this healing journey, as I'm on this deliverance journey, as my big sis say, I've got to focus on God. Can't focus on man. Can't worry about what man is saying. Can't worry about man thinking. So then my son's dad, I'm thinking he's going to finally see him. He sees me. He meets me again after my son. By then, he's 4 years old. I'm saying, hey, you need to go spend time with your son. Do you know who he is? He said, yes. Do you know his name? He tells me his name. Do you know when he was born? Yes. I know he's born on Christmas Day. Well, you need to spend time with him. And all he thought about was, how can he get back with me? And I said, hey, bro, we ain't looking for that right now. I need you to spend time with your child because your child has a lot of emotional trauma because his dad was in his life, and I kept asking people when I was pregnant, when was I really that emotional, being pregnant with him? Ladies, we don't realize when we are hurt, when we're carrying our seed that God planted in us, when he used that man, whether he was a good, bad, or right, or a different man, we carry that burden in our room with those children. And so I didn't know if I was crying that bad because my son, he was always crying. I couldn't understand what was going on. But then I realized, and I thought about it, he was crying because he felt my hurt. He felt my pain. And so then when that oldest one and the youngest one was battling at each other. So now that time happened, that issue happened, that situation happened. Now he done rejected not just my daughter, but my son too, because he was carrying my son well as one of his. He would take my son with him. He was big in the car, so I'm big in the cars. He liked the sounds in the sound systems in his car. I like the sound systems in the car. You know, I was learning a lot of things from him, but he was also hurting me. I remember a time I ran away to his house with his mom, and me and him, and it was me and his brother out hanging around. And he uses the fire extinguisher, knowing I had eczema real bad, to spray on me. He cut my heart. But Jesus is healing. And he's laughing. And his brother said, man, what you do that for? And again, I'm having to forgive him. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, listen to me. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, godparents, whoever you are in this earth, anything you do to a person and you're wondering why they run around with all this hurt, with all this anger, with all this bitterness, with all this, because they don't know how to sort out what they've been through, what they've gone through, what you've done to them, and how to say, I got to still forgive them. Yes, listen to me. Take it from me. You still have to forgive them, because the forgiveness ain't for them. It's for you. How are you going to go higher? How are you going to elevate to what the Lord has for you? Whatever chapter he has for you. If you still hold on and you say, I'm not forgetting them, I'm going to take this to my grave. I would never forgive them. And you know what? Who hears you? Not only the Lord hears you, the devil hears you too. And he says, oh, well, they say they're going to take it to their grave unless God says, I'm going to give them another chance. And we're in the earth right now. We're in America, especially, that a lot of people are catching illnesses. A lot of people are catching sicknesses out of nowhere. A lot of people are getting unexplained accidents. Things are just happening because he's trying to get our attention for us to forgive. So I'm listening, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, wow, all these people kept hurting me. Everybody, including especially my parents, but I still had to forgive. There's a balm in Gilead. He was rubbing it on my heart. He was rubbing it on my mind. He was rubbing it in my spirit and my soul to still say, Morgan, you still got to forgive them. And I said, well, okay, Lord. And I remember I went to a generational curse sermon at the church that I was going to at one time. And the pastor said, well, Lord, you know how my mom is. You know what my mom did. You know what they said. You know what my aunts did to me. You know what my uncles, my grandparents did to me. And I still got to forgive me. He said, yes, because I knew them before you did. So you still had to forgive. And so that's what your girl Morgan been doing. I never even had true grandparents, mainly grandmother, because I never met any of my grandfathers except my step grandfather. He was the only guy that was pretty nice. And I loved him when he was alive. On my dad's mom's side. That was her ex-husband. Well, her husband before he passed. He was the only step-grandfather that I had that I actually felt love from. But when I tell you, I never had a praying grandma. You know that song is Grandma's Hands. When your grandma, you got a praying grandmother. I never had a praying Praying grandmother. I had praying Preying grandmothers. Now, I did have a pray Pray great grandmother on my mom's side for the moment that she was here, but that was the only great grandmother that I ever knew, great grandmother or great grandparents that I ever knew. So I'm like, okay, all these people kept hurting me, and I'm still saying, Lord, I still gotta heal. Still gotta forgive them. And he said, yes, Morgan, you still gotta forgive them. How can I take you to where you need to be? I'm gonna give you another example. So I told you about the cut my hair, and they used to laugh at me. So growing up, of course, there was a lot of nicknames going around the family. So one of my nicknames they would call me was Rat. They would say I looked like a rat. And so my mom's brother would chase me around the house with dead rats, because they would have rats around the house. And for those who know, those kind of insects and rodents are not good if you have them in your home. If you learning and listen to me on the spiritual side, not on the natural side. If you have those in your home, that means you need to get your heart and your mind together. And so I've always been definitely afraid of those things. They're no nasty. They're so vile. And so they would call me and say, I look like that. I would look like that because I would itch so bad, because either my nerves was acting up, or my skin was acting up because of the weather, or because I was stressed out. So they would call me those kind of names, and alligator and diggy mo, because I was always scratching. When I tell you, these are people that said they love me. Here I am, full grown woman now, and then my children, they still saying they love them. And I'm like, you cannot love us when you are still telling people that's who you still see me at. That means you still haven't forgiven yourself for what you've done to me. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It's between you and the Father. It's between you and the Lord. I have nothing to do. But again, what I'm telling you guys, what I'm telling you ladies, is that's why your heart get cut. And then you have to ask him, heal my heart. And the first step to healing your heart is you must forgive them. Even if you don't tell them yourself. There's a balm in Gilead. When I tell you, last night, again, going back to the church service, when I tell you the ED was full, the ED was overcapacitated. It was not even enough people to come into the room, but everybody was trying to come into the room because there's a lot of hurt and broken people. And I'm looking around and I'm like, oh my Lord, all these people are here for you, Lord. They ain't here for the man. They're here for the vessel that you're using, God. And I'm like, okay, I see. So going back to that part, so I finally decided to share that since I was about 10 years old, I could not hear in my right ear, and I told you that. And I said I used to get hit in my head, and I would bang my own head on against the desk or again, because the devil was saying that I wasn't worthy of anything. And I remember a time my mom had whipped me, and she pushed me to the corner of a wall. And when she pushed me to the corner of a wall, I had this big gash over my eye. I believe he's healing me from it because I don't see it that much no more. And when I went to the doctor, she told me not to tell the doctor the truth. So, we come from generations where when they do things to you, they tell you, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody what happens in the house. But when there's trauma, when it's hurt, when it's pain, when it's disappointment, who are you going to tell besides the Lord? You got to tell someone in the natural. And so I come from a bloodline that people I was telling, they was ignoring me, or they was calling me a liar, or they was saying, well, if it happened and you deserved it, or if it happened, oh, well, that's on you. All these people I'm having to forgive. So I go to the doctor. She says, tell the doctor that you could not see. And I was like, but Mom, I can't see. What did I tell you? Tell the doctor that you cannot see. So the doctor asked me, what happened to your eye? So I look at the doctor. But I'm looking at the doctor like I hope he can hear that I'm not telling the truth. I can't see. And he said, you can't see. And so he does an eye test. And he said, and so I purposely kind of failed the test. So I would not get in more trouble because, I already got in trouble for whatever the reason was when I got pushed to the corner of the wall. And so the doctor said, okay, well, I guess we'll give her some glasses. So from like 9 to about 12 years old, I was wearing glasses and I wasn't supposed to wear glasses back then. And I think when I became 12 and the doctor kept saying, I think she can see. Why is she still wearing these glasses? And I was like, yay, somebody's hearing me. And I had to finally tell the doctor the truth. But I was like, please don't do anything to my mom. It's going to be okay. And again, forgiveness back then. I've been forgiving people for a long, long time. I promise you guys. You hold on to all that, it's not going to take you nowhere. It's not going to get you nowhere. Release that from your heart so you can get your healing, because your heart is heavy right now. And when your heart is heavy right now, you catch sicknesses, you catch illnesses, you catch diseases, you catch things that you should not be catching, because we got work to do on this earth. So I end up going to getting my ears checked. I said, I want to say 19 years old. I kept failing the hearing test. And I'm like, excuse me. And I'm like, okay. And the doctor said, well, what happened to you when you was growing up? And I was like, oh. And he said, you can tell me the truth. I won't do anything. I won't say anything. And so I said, well, I used to get hit in my head when I was younger. And then I told him about my mom's husband would rub his knuckles in my head. And then I would hit my head on the desk because I was not feeling worthy and thinking that I shouldn't be here. And told him about my mom pushed me to the corner of the wall. And so he goes do further tests, and he comes back and he says, Morgan, you have nerve deafness. And I said, nerve deafness? What does that mean? He said, well, it's like everything is on the inside is closed, so you really can't hear. So we would have to get you a hearing aid to go from your left side to extend and extend the sound from the left to the right so you can be able to hear. And I'm like, okay. So for years, all those years, I kept trying to get a hearing aid. And every time I kept trying to get a hearing aid, I guess God said, no, you can hear. And I would go to church and say, pray over my hearing. And they would always say, oh, you can hear. You're going to be able to hear real soon. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hear real soon. I lay down, they pray on me, they lay their hands on me. I praise the Lord, thank the Lord, go out, come back in. And still like, I can't hear. I don't know what they're talking about. I guess this prophecy not going to happen. I don't think they know what they're talking about. So here we are, rewind. 52 and a half years later, not once, Lord allowed somebody to pray over my ears, but twice. The Lord allowed somebody to pray over my ears. He used his vessels to pray over my ears. Well, guys, last night, when I tell you I can hear clearly now, I can hear clearly now. I can even hear while I'm talking to you. At one time, I couldn't even hear when I'm talking to other people. I would say, come to this ear, come to that ear, because I can't hear. And they said, what, you can? Yes, you can. So I couldn't hear in the natural, but I could still hear in the spiritual. So I guess maybe that was why I was getting in trouble when I was growing up, because God was allowing me to hear things that I wasn't supposed to hear. Because, they were always saying in the old days, they would say corn has ears, because that means a child was over here listening to things that adults were talking about. So I was hearing a lot of things, even when they was talking talking about me, or talking about my family, or talking about my relationship, even as I was growing up, or talking about this and talking about my dad, talking about my children, talking about my grandchildren. You cannot place your mouths on people who are God's people, who God chose, who God put together, who God is putting together. Let no man divide and separate. You cannot keep putting your mouths on us peoples, because He's gonna make sure He gets you people for mess with. So when I tell you, I'm hearing clearly now, and I'm like, Lord, took me that long for not to only hear you in the spirit, but now I hear you in the natural. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Praise God. Anyway, what a God we serve. But again, going back to, they cut my heart. They cut my heart when it was picking about me, can't hear. They cut my heart when they would talk about my skin and say I was so ugly. They cut my heart when they would say, I would hear them say things about my own bloodline. And I'm sitting here saying, but Jesus is healing it. He has to heal it. I still got to forgive them. I still got to love them. But I don't have to still be in the same room with them now. I just want to put that out there. Just want to say that out loud. But if I'm in the same room with them, just best believe and know I'm praying over them, and I'm praying for them, P-R-A-Y, not P-R-E-Y, which is what they was doing to me. So I'm sitting there thinking like, Lord, the balm has been on my life for a very, very long time. Because I remember when I did the interview and the young lady said, and you still laughing and you still this and that. And I'm like, yeah. That's what happened when you have the Spirit of the Lord inside. When you have a true, genuine heart. When you have a true, genuine heart of love, of kindness, of peace, of joy, of forgiveness. That's a part of your healing, is when they cut your heart. And in order for Jesus to heal it, you got to forgive them. Because if you don't forgive them, you can't go as far as He wants you to go. And when I looked in the ED last night, it was a building full of broken and hurt people that are walking around America, walking around the earth, needing some medicine, which is what? Jesus. Jesus is the balm, which is the medicine that He wants to give all of you, all of us. He wants to help us, even if He's in the process of transitioning us, even if you're in the process of getting judgment. Even if you're in the process of reaping what you sow, you still need the balm of Gilead. You need that salve on your heart. You need that salve on your mind. You need that salve in your spirit and your soul. Because how can you get healed if you don't forgive? Because it all begins with you forgiving. Forgive, my brothers and my sisters. Forgive my cousins. Forgive my aunts. Forgive my uncles. Forgive my grandparents. Forgive my great-grandparents and my ancestry down from that behind before I came here. Forgiving them all. Yeah, we even got to go back and forgive all them people. Even if we didn't know those people, we didn't meet those people. We still got to go back and forgive them people too. Forgive so you can get your healing. Come on, guys. Come on, girls. Even when those seed planters planted their seeds inside of you, those what I don't like the term they call, I say my children's fathers. A lot of them people call baby daddy, baby mom. I don't like it. Well, when I tell you, for my children's fathers, I had to forgive them. I'm still forgiving them, because I'm forgiving them for the hurt that I see in my own children. My own children are hurt. My own children are walking around with pain. My own children are walking around with anger. My own children are walking around with bitterness. So I had to forgive those men that I laid down with and created those lives with. And they fumbled my children. They rejected and abandoned my children. They caused my children hurt. They caused my children pain. They caused my children trauma. They caused my children to be bitter. They caused whatever spirit is inside of your children, whatever spirit is inside of the bloodline of your children, or children's children, all that stemmed from the seed that was planted inside of you. And until you get your healing, your bloodline will keep transferring to the next bloodline, the next generation, and the next generation, which is what was passed on to us from the generations before us and the generations before us. Come on, people, it's time for us to get this healing. Healing. Healing amongst the land. Healing. Healing amongst your heart. Healing in your body, healing in your spirit and your soul. Not in the hospitals on the natural, but in the hospitals, the buildings, and the houses of prayers that we're going to. If you can't get healed there, you're getting the wrong building. You need to leave that place of worship and go to the right place of worship so you can get fed. We hungry. There's a lot of hungry people out there. We're not talking about hungry in food. We're talking about hungry in the spirit. We're hungry for Christ. And we're saying, Lord, we need you. We need your help. We need your guidance. We need your wisdom. Increase my discernment. Double my discernment. Double whatever you have for me. My lessons, my clarity, my confirmations, my revelation. And when I had that revelation of why my children were on the path they were on because of the seeds that was planted inside me, who not only hurt them, but they first hurt me. They cut my heart first. And they cut my heart because I was running to them, running for love, because I was running away from abuse. I was running away from molestation, sexual assault. I was running away from child abuse. I was running away from all this hurt and this pain, all this rejection, and running to these men thinking that they're gonna protect me, they're gonna help me, they're gonna be my support, and they were hurting me too. And I'm sitting here like, why did I choose all these three men? And he said, well, all those three men was your choice, not my choice. So I had to let you go through the journey that you had to go through so you can finally get the revelation. Now it was not my choice, it was your choice. So when we make our choices to get them people we're getting with and going through the situations we're going through, even down to my money's being stolen. Both men stole from me. Both men stole my finances. I got a giving heart, y'all. And everybody who knows me know. And even if I don't have it, I'm going to give it to you. I'm like, well, I don't have it, but I'll give it to them. Or I'll figure out how to get to them so I can give it to them. And they would steal my monies. And I wonder why my monies is drying up and why this is happening. Every time they would do something, they was what? Cutting my heart. How many of you have been with somebody and you've given them something? Not loan, because if you got a loan, that means you want it back. If I'm giving you something, I'm giving it back, and I'm not looking for it back unless I see who you are and I've seen what you've done. And I'm going to say, well, because you've taken advantage of me so many times and you've done this to me so many times, if I give this to you, I will expect it back because I've seen how you treat me when you fumbled my heart, when you treated me the way you treated me. And so I'm going to want that back. So those people who kept doing those things, they're going to reap what they sow. Just know, he said, vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord. I will repay. So as you're going through that and they're cutting your heart and you're saying, but Jesus, he's healing it. But Jesus, he's healing it. Just call on Jesus. Yes, you are. He's healing it. Yes, you are. The balm of Gilead. When I tell you, these are the revelations that I had to get. And it was like, oh, now it's making so much sense. All these years, 52 years of hurt was on purpose. 52 years of betrayal was on purpose. 52 years of disappointment was on purpose. 52 years of manipulation was on purpose. 52 years of jealousy, envy, prideful, boastful, rebellion, stubborn was on purpose. When I tell you, it's time for us to open up our eyes and open up our ears, and so we can clearly hear what we need to hear, and our eyes to see what we need to see, and then ask our eyes to hear what we need to see, and our ears to see what we need to hear. It is time, because when they cut your heart, they're not realizing what they're doing. They're not just cutting you, they're cutting God's heart too. They cutting the Lord's heart too, because it hurts him when he sees others hurting his children, hurting his people. And I'm sitting here thinking like, wow, all these years, these people kept doing these things to me on purpose, for their own purpose, for their reason, not for my reason, because of those spirits that was lying inside of them, that was operating inside of them. And they all kept calling me a fool and saying, how's she still loving people? How's she still being this way to people? After everything they keep doing, after everything we done did to her, after all the things we done said about it, even when she learned that we done said things about it, she's still coming to us and she's loving. Don't ask me, ask God, because that's the heart that he placed in me. That's the spirit that he placed in me of love, of forgiveness, because it's always obviously been in me all this time. I'm trying to fix this shirt, y'all, so I apologize. It's always been in me all this time, but I just did not know that was already in me all this time. And so as I'm thinking about all the things that everybody's done, everybody's said, everybody's treated me, any old thing, and I'm sitting there like, wow. It was all for your purpose, your plan. God, you be having jokes, as I be saying out loud. You be having jokes. But that's why endurance is victory. Because everything I went through, I endured. I persevered. I had resilience. I have strength. And I asked daily to make me a bold soldier, because he don't want me no naive, gullible person, which is what I was for a very long time. He doesn't want me to be a coward soldier. He wants me to be ready for war. He wants you to be ready for war. He doesn't want us to be naive. He doesn't want us to be gullible. He doesn't want to say, oh, well, I didn't know. I'm very innocent. No, you can be innocent, but still be aware. You have that discernment to be able to say, okay, now I understand. Now I got it. Now it all makes sense. So as I'm going through this and I'm sitting there like, they kept cutting my heart. They did that and they cut my heart. They did that and they cut my heart. And I'm like, okay, Lord, but it all stemmed from forgiveness. I can't go forward if I won't forgive. Even when I lived in that town and I had a racism case against me, I still had to forgive those people who was racist against me, including my own bloodline, my own kind, my own people, as they kept saying. I'm like, well, you're not my own people, but my own race of people. They were racist against me as well. And I kept saying, okay, I had to forgive them too. When that job took advantage of me, and then when I put the case against them, they lied and made it seem like they was a private entity when they was a state entity, and they held me down again and they stole from me again. But God said, vengeance is mine, double for my trouble. No, not much longer now, is on its way. Increase is on its way. Everything that was stolen, everything that was lost is on its way. So I'm having to keep saying that over and over and over, because they cut my heart. But Jesus is healing. The balm in Gilead. There is a balm in Gilead because they cut my heart. And so I'm sitting there thinking all those things. Even when they were lying, when Morgan Rees was birthed, when they said the book came out, and they see how the Lord is using me. God don't lie. He said the truth will set you free. So there's no reason for me to lie, because the truth is setting me free. Even when you thought I did not know, God said, I'm going to make sure you know. I'm going to make sure you hear. I'm going to make sure you understand. So you can be able to be able to do what you need to do. You can be able to operate the way you need to operate, because there's a balm in Gilead. They cut my heart, but Jesus is healing. Healing is here if you want it. I don't want to be when I'm angry at everybody, when I'm mad at everybody. I'm always telling people off. I'm always bitter. I'm always manipulating people, doing things. I don't want to be that, because that doesn't seem to work out for me. I can't operate. As my baby said, I love your heart. Never change. I love who you are. I'll never change for who you are when you act towards me. I'll just keep being me. It's up to you for you to not be that person, and for you to change your heart, for you to change your mind, so you can get this healing. Because they cut my heart. My mom cut my heart, forgave her. My dad cut my heart, forgave him. My kids cut my girls mainly cut my heart, forgive them. My grandparents, my grandmothers cut my heart, forgive them. My cousins cut my heart, forgive them. My aunts, my uncles cut my heart, forgive them. Those friends who I thought was my friends cut my heart, forgive them. Because Jesus is still healing me. We need to forgive so we can get a little bit of that healing. Don't you want to be healed? Don't you want to be walking around, with a better spirit? There ain't going to be no rosy and peachy creamy days every day. You're not going to see roses and lily flowers and all those things every day. But you'll get majority of them, because the warfare is still going to be warfare. And the devil's still going to be busy. He's going to always be trying to attack you. I just want to let y'all know that. The attacks are still going to be there. The attacks will still be there no matter what. And he will use whoever the vessel is willing to come and attack against you. Whether it's your parents, whether it's your grandparents, whether it's your children, whether it's your children's children, on down the line, on down the road. because we were born into these families of brokenness. We were born into these families of hurt. We were born into these families of rejection. We were born into these families of trauma. They kept putting trauma on top of trauma on us. We were born into these spirits of rejection. We were born into spirits of abandonment. We were born to all these spirits of people who kept doing what they were doing when they were doing how they were doing us and how they were treating us, because they kept cutting our heart. They kept cutting our heart. We're in a world full of people who keep cutting our heart. How many people have you can go back and say, Morgan, you're right. They cut my heart. Morgan, you're right. They did do me wrong. But I need to forgive. Not for them, but for you. For you. Not for them. You need to forgive. They cut your heart, but Jesus is healing. Jesus is our healer. There's balm of Gilead. There's a balm in Gilead. There's a balm to heal your heart, to heal your mind. But in order to get that healing, you must forgive all those people who fumbled you. When I tell you, my kids' dads, they fumbled. Not just me, they fumbled my children. My parents fumbled me. My parents' parents fumbled them. My parents' parents probably fumbled them. And so forth down the generation. Time to break this curse, y'all. Time to break this cycle. It's time for us to get some healing. I'm just saying. So we can do the right thing for the right reason. So we can walk in our purpose, our plan, and the assignment that God has for us, whatever that looks like. Whatever that is, it's time. It's time for you to get some of this healing. They can't keep cutting your heart and thinking they're going to get away with it, because guess who sees all and knows all? And it ain't nothing that you can do about that part. Whatever he allows to happen, you have to accept whatever he allows to happen for those who hurt you, for those who fumbled you, for those who didn't know who you were, still don't know who you are, refusing to accept you as the new you, as the healed you, as the person that said, hey, I don't got to play those games no more. I'm on a different chapter. That's why endurance is victory. I endured. I am victory. I am victorious. I overcame. You are victory. You are victorious. You will overcome. You can. He said those who endure to the end must be saved, shall be saved. He's going to save you because you are going to the end. Once you get your healing from the demonic strongholds, because as the message went yesterday, the witches witchings and the warlocks are warlocking, and they busy right now, and they not happy right now. They in their anger mode, so they coming in attack mode in full blown force. But we gotta stand firm. We gotta stand and fight. We gotta stand, be ready. We ain't talking about in the natural. We ain't talking about in the natural. We talking about in the spiritual. We talking about the spiritual. Because for me, your girl Morgan, I've never been a fighter. And when I did, I heard and I learned, people was telling me, "Ooh, you are your mother and your father's child." It's okay. I know. I finally got that message now. I got that memo. I am my mom and my dad's child. And I'm also my father's child. I got a little boldness in me. It pops up every now and then. But I have to keep it laid down. Unless you push the buttons, then you get a different side of me. It's time. When they be cutting your heart, let Jesus heal it. Jesus is healing my heart. Jesus is going to heal your heart. But it begins with you forgiving. It begins with you forgiving. Don't let them take away your dreams. Don't let them take away your goals. Don't let them take away the purpose that God has planned for you. Don't let them take away your everything that your heart desire. Because when they do that, they have won the battle. And God said, victory is mine. Victory today is mine. I told Satan to get thee behind, because victory is mine. Victory is yours. Victory today is yours. They cut your heart, but Jesus is healing it. There's a balm in Gilead. Guys, follow your girl Morgan on YouTube. I have 2 YouTube channels. Good Morning Black People, My podcast channel is right on YouTube. And also I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Good Morning Black People. On TikTok as Morgan Rees, Rees, live speaker. On LinkedIn is Morgan Rees, Rees, LLC. Morgan Rees, live speaker. On YouTube, Morgan Rees, live speaker. On Facebook, Morgan Rees, live speaker. On Instagram, on TikTok. Follow your girl Morgan. Let us walk in this purpose together. Let us get healed together. Let us get our healing together. Because it's time, we got work to do. It's time to get healed. There's a balm in Gilead. They cut my heart, but Jesus is healing. Be blessed.
Yo, what's up? I'm gonna kick it with the line, y'all know. Yo, Slim, can I kick it right here? Here we go. Well, it's time to make that change. People of the world today are fading.